Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Let's go.
Round one, fight.
Thank you for tuning in to the Crypto Street Podcast. Here are your hosts, Killer Whale, Prince, and Crypto Dale.
And remember to tip your waitress.
Hey everybody, welcome to another Crypto Street Podcast episode. This is Crypto Dale coming to you with the first episode in April. Today is April 1st, April Fools. I've been seeing a lot of April Fool's jokes. I got deked by the Chicago Bears, so thank you very much. But as always, I'm joined with my two co-hosts, Killer Whale. What's up?
Hey, man. I saw a good April Fool's joke from Von Miller on Instagram about being traded to the Browns. I thought that was pretty good.
See, like mine was with, it said the Bears traded like 3 years of first-round picks for Odell Beckham Jr. And I was like, yes, no. And then I saw it, and and the picks, I was just like, oh, no. So I hate April Fool's Day. Prince, what's up, homie?
Another good day. I got no big complaints. Bitcoin's doing its thing. It's going down. It's going up. So it's just another day.
Just another day in the office, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, one of the biggest things that we've said when we have our guests, it seems that there's two ways of people getting into this space, and one is through gaming back when all that was going on, and then the others obviously was the good stuff that we won't mention. But so today's guests are pretty. I'm pretty pumped about this project, TAP project. We've got the co-founders Haniff and Hugh Knight joining with us. So fellas, thanks for taking the time on the Sunday afternoon for us, all of us, I believe it is. So thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for inviting us. It's been great to be here. So
yeah, definitely. Thanks for having us.
So let's start off with, you're welcome. Let's start off with just kind of giving us a little background on your guys' self individually, and then we'll kind of dive into the TAP project and really, hopefully give our listeners a great idea of what the concept behind it is, and then maybe get them stirred up to check it out like we all have. So I don't care, Haniff or Hugh, just kind of let everyone know which one of you it is, and then just tell us a little bit about yourself, if you would.
awesome, perfect. So I'll give that one a go. Obviously, my name is Haniff Knight. I'm one of the co-founders of the TAP project. I'm do kind of a lead in terms of the vision, marketing, kind of influence of the project as well, and kind of the shape of it. My kind of real interest in the project is one, I'm a huge gamer. So this project is kind of, I always laugh and I always say it, and it's almost built for me, right? It's something that I've always dreamed about using. And it's something that I'm just pumped. Every game I literally play, I'm like, I just watching those currencies go up and just only wishing to be able to convert them. So that's just kind of my my real input there.
Hey, and I'm Hugh Knight, so I'm the other co-founder, and I'm more of the development side, but a huge gamer. And as Hannah said, this was sort of there's a lot of self-interest in this, where this project, we want to kind of get our hands on it for ourselves as well, just because we're huge gamers and it's something that we're super passionate about. And it's one of those projects where it's going to complement everyone at the end of the day.
So how did this all come to be? Like, how did this form? Was it one of those things where you guys are hanging out one day and you're like, we got to do something here, and we got to help ourselves out with this whole currency thing because we're watching this and we just got to do it. Like, how did this all come to be?
Right. It's funny that you mentioned that. As we indicated before, Hugh and myself are brothers, and all the time we obviously grew up gaming and playing different games way back when, from Nintendo all the way up forward. And we kind of were always looking at new avenues to progress in gaming or change the gaming industry. I myself, I don't buy much DLC, and I make a point of saying that because I'm looking for new ways to get those things by playing the games. By if it's saying, you have to play a harder level to earn this, I'm going to play that harder level. I'm going to play, one man standing or whatever just to get the bonus gear or something. And it initially came into figuring out ways to innovate the gaming industry with streaming and YouTubing, and kind of building a conversion mechanism between YouTubers and audiences and stuff like that. And obviously we came to just bantering around, throwing up ideas out of the air and stuff like that. And we were playing games, and we're just kind of like, hey, we always go back every once in a while. He would send me a picture or something of an old school game. We're like, oh yeah, just reminisce about that. And we're kind of like, hey, what happened to all those hours and that currency and the amount of points and times that we spent in those games? That would be crazy if we could take that out and put it onto a new game that we're playing right now. And that kind of was that shock and awe kind of, interesting. Let's see what we have here, right?
Yeah, that was literally the conversation. Like, how can we take what we've done in this and put it into another game? Because that would just be crazy. And then we kind of started brainstorming and putting some ideas together and looking into the blockchain and Ethereum and smart contracts. And it just kind of sort of put its way together like that.
I used to play RuneScape, if you guys are familiar with that. And one of the best ways to earn digital gold in that game was basically to chop down trees all day. And so I have these visions of like my little pixelated avatar just running back and forth from the bank to this field of trees, just competing with all these other little pixelated guys, just like chopping away. And it's like the most mindless thing ever.
But you
and I think about how much time I wasted on that. And it's like to be able
hilarious.
to transfer that to a game I enjoyed.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
For sure. Like the last picture I just sent Haniff like 2 days ago was Breath of Fire. Because I remember spending just hours like going back to and just kind of chopping down these little guys, and they weren't anything hard, but just kind of like ramp up, right? So
I have a funny story for you. Going back to kind of the RuneScape chopping down trees, I had a friend that was playing, I think, World of Warcraft at the time, and I don't know if you guys remember those little small birds that would kind of tip over and poke every once in a while. Like they would just kind of be on a little physics kind of tilting. He put that on one of his buttons and he just literally just left it there for hours. That would just go down and click a button every single, just for mining gold or something like that, right? No, I totally get you.
Yeah, and eventually I reverted to botting in RuneScape, which I honestly should have done way earlier. It's obviously a bannable offense, but I spent so much time chopping those trees down. It's just like, anyway, going back to the project, I think the concept of transferring these currencies from game to game is really a novel and useful one. Mm-hmm. I think it's something that gaming really needs. So I guess talk a little bit about some of the problems you guys see in the gaming industry right now, and specifically how this can address some of those things.
So that's a great point to make on. And one of the things that we kind of highlighted in one of our earlier podcasts as well is, in 2017 or 2016, the gaming industry nearly broke $100 billion. Mm-hmm. And in 2017, PUBG alone made $700 million off of transactions and kind of Steam microtransactions, stuff like that. That's a lot of money. And that was an alpha. I play PUBG, and no hate against PUBG. It's a great game. But there needs to be some sort of shift there. That, to me, as a gamer, that's one-sided. And I'm not saying we're to take away from developers or anything like that. It's nothing that we want to do. We just want to add another layer onto that circle. Instead of going, gamers pay to play a game, or they pay for a transaction, that's it, ends there. We want to add another loop. Mm-hmm. So we don't want to stop gamers from paying into games, but we just want to have a little bit of creativity and freedom for those who want to be able to take those conversions. So one that is a major issue in terms of with the gaming industry right now is it's very cyclical, and it stops at one end, really. It doesn't come back, and it's very traditional in the method that they're actually using. It works, it's a working method, but as we said, we want to really disrupt the industry. We want to change it, we want to shake it up a little bit, mm-hmm. and because sometimes change is good for innovation and creativity and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the things too, just on like the other side of the fence, and I'm usually playing the other side of the fence too, which kind of makes us a good dynamic duo, is for the publishers, right? I think the developers and the publishers have sort of reached a stage where, they're trying to microtransact, character deaths.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh man, I saw that. I could not believe.
Right, like they're sort of running out of ideas. Like, how can we keep, how can we continue to obviously make a revenue stream, or have a revenue stream to continue to produce more series of our games, but at the same time how can we change the game, right? So they've kind of reached a roadblock where it's microtransactions for everything, and there's nothing past that point because there hasn't been any innovation. So it's for us, we see this as like an additional piece where they can continue to do that. And then it sort of goes into like a different dynamics where, now that you're able to earn currencies from the games, it allows the developers to make their games harder, right? So harder games, or that advanced level, now it's restricted for the super advanced who dare want to go into there, but they've got a higher risk to reward ratio. So you kind of gamify the game, and it's more against, now it's your skills against the game instead of your skills against whoever else is playing.
Now we talk about the developers and how they might have more opportunity now to really continue and progress these games. Let's just go over maybe some of the incentives a game developer would have by using your guys' platform for his game.
So one of the things that we kind of want to highlight is we want to range between indie games to AAA games alike. And obviously their needs and wants are different, but essentially they're the same. They want a user base, and they want continued engagement, and they want increased live ops and people continuing to play their games. Obviously the psychology of gaming is a different aspect, but how do we get people to continue playing my game once they're on and not leave? So for indie games, we want to provide them an ability and an option to put their platform or their game on a platform easily. Innovate themselves. They're always looking at new ways to test the waters. Some of the greatest games start out as indie games just because they don't have to follow the framework of a AAA, or they don't have to count on the fact that, hey, we just need to do A and B. They can kind of explore and kind of challenge themselves. So we want to provide them the opportunity to challenge themselves by gaining additional and immediate revenue in the source of cryptocurrency by transactions as soon as they get on the platform. So that helps with marketing for them, that helps with exposure, and that helps with different users trying out their games. For them, it's the kind of the light of, hey, you might be right beside, let's say Destiny or Call of Duty as your as your indie game. Even just spilling off 1% of that user base to just try your game for 20, 30 minutes is a huge bonus. We can't make their games any better, so they still have to develop a great game. But if their game is really good and it keeps their users engaged, then boom, you'll having a share of 1% is a huge thing for them. And for AAAs, it's kind of that immediate revenue source and additional revenue source for them that goes way beyond challenging someone, as you said, creating a way to say, oh, you guys need to pay for deaths or something like that, right? Get away from that and create that. So.
Yeah. So we sort of came up with a tiered, transaction revenue for them. So it's a tiered system. So the more transactions that happen between the game, the platform, and the users and their game, the more they're able to earn and add to their revenue stream.
Yeah, and I think that's really huge because so much of any kind of blockchain technology is basically just a system of incentives, right? For making a system good for these people and those people and all the different kinds of people that are interacting with a given system or market. So it's interesting to me that you guys have made a system where it really does seem to have a benefit for developers, for gamers themselves. It's a good concept too. And I think another thing that ties in with that is the marketplace that you have, sort of the central hub where you can monitor your games, the currencies.
Yeah, the dashboard,
Yeah. So maybe talk a little bit more about that dashboard.
Yeah, so it's just kind of touch on a little bit of the transaction method as well. We want to create the opportunity for games to expand, and it's going to be it's obviously very fluid. So there is different tiers, as you said, and the higher your game gets exposed, the more revenue you receive in transactions. So as you kind of increase in 1 month or whatever, you might say you have a couple updates, boom, your transaction revenue is a little bit higher. Slower months, you kind of go down to a different tier. But Hugh, did you want to touch on to the platform?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So one of the things when we were going out to quite a bit of indie events and so forth, and you kind of touched on it, the almost balance between the developers and the gamers. When we were talking to a lot of developers, they were, one of their questions was, okay, well, that's great, and I'm able to provide that to my user base, but what's in it for me, right? Which is definitely a fair question, right? They've got to eat, they've got to survive. So that's sort of where we said, okay, well, maybe we try and position ourselves as, in between, sort of a Switzerland, if you would. And then so we said, okay, well, you're doing all this, and let's be honest, everybody likes to see it's gamification. They like to see how much how much they've earned, how much badges they've earned, who they're up against. It's sort of built off of that. So we've taken our platform and said, okay, well, let's put it visually, right? So you're taking digital to digital, but there's got to be a way for me to see what I'm doing, how good I'm doing, because at the end of the day, maybe it's something that you do every other day, and you're able to game and make some currency off of it. And if you can buy yourself a beer, every Friday from gaming, why not? So.
And we've kind of created the platform to have a large amount of advancements in it as well. So just kind of on the basic level, users are able to jump onto the platform, play a game, convert that digital score, earned or premium, environments, assets, skins, anything like that, into Tapcoin specifically, jump back onto the platform, and then have that used in different avenues. So we've set up kind of like a social influence type of factor. So if you are good at Super Mario Run or something like that, and you've figured out a great way to gamify that game and earn score really fast in a matter of every 5 minutes, you can earn X amount. You can load that right onto your profile. People can follow you. It's almost kind of like a YouTube or Twitch kind of aspect where you gain followers, you can receive tips. The Tapcoin is used onto the platform to facilitate. Hugh, is it time to mention that?
Go for it.
to facilitate, one thing that we're going to bring right onto your show is the new stages and advancements, updates to facilitate tournaments, avatars, non-fungibles, where users are able to buy kind of Modern Warfare 2. Fall colors were the best. In every gun, fall colors were the best. So kind of like that, where your avatar is kind of like a gold skin. You want to get to that highest tier with your avatar to be able to say, hey, this guy's good. He's gold tiered on this game. I'm going to follow him, tip him, and I'll be able to earn exactly what this guy's doing. He might be an esports pro gamer, but hey, I have access to him, exactly what he's doing, and sky's the limit for me, right? So there's different things that we've built in the platform to allow advancements, creativity, some freedom, customization is there, and users will be able to use those Tapcoins in tournaments and avatars, as I said. So we're super excited about that.
I think that's really important too, because the community aspect is a huge thing that gives something like this staying power. It's not just show up, look at your own stuff. It's the interaction with your fellow people, and then you get competitive, and that's something like I used to play World of Warcraft as well. And that's what kept drawing me back to it was the community. I had my little guild, with my friends, and I didn't want to get behind them if they were leveling up and they were getting cool PvP rewards. And that's the thing that constantly drives you back in. And you're like, oh, I got to log in again. And it gives you that kind of urge to play over and over. So I think that's going to be very key in the whole thing.
Yeah, you can only imagine, right? It's if Twitter influencers and stuff like that, you can imagine like trading, people, watch traders and see exactly what they're doing. If somebody can say, hey, I play this game and I earn this amount of Tapcoins just by doing this, you follow me and you follow my steps, that's huge for both influencers as both gamers following as well.
So I guess going, back onto the platform, the dashboard, for when these games, they want to integrate onto your platform, how is that process for the developers? Is it a fairly smooth process for these individuals, or is it maybe a little complicated for them? Why don't you go into that a bit?
Yeah, for sure. I can grab that one, Hannah. So, and this goes back, like we went out to events. Like it was pretty much every day we were at events talking to developers, talking to gamers. Because at the end of the day, gamers are developers, and developers are gamers as well. And so we wanted to make sure that we created something very simple, because they've got the stress of creating a game. And so to add an integration that's complex, it's sort of like, oh, I can't even bother with that, right? Because now it's taking away from what I really want to do. So for integration with the platform, one of the things we said is it's got to be simple. It's got to be easy. And so our SDK is pretty much, you take our SDK, you input into your game, you get provided a game ID, and you link it. And your users just log in, their session is there and it's held, and that's it. Very simple, very easy across the board.
Yeah, we didn't want to change anything. And a lot of people were like, oh, you're changing my game economy. You're changing my environments. Right? No, we won't change any of that. We do provide some customization if you do want to say, hey, this is something that we want to make it harder to earn tap coins or harder to earn a certain score. Yeah, we have that customization. But on a default level, we provide that simplicity to say, hey, as long as you're a real game, and you and I will test those out, just make sure it's not somebody creating a stick fighter game just to reap the benefits or bought the system or gamify the system. Then we want to make this as simple with as minimal of a footprint as we possibly can. Obviously, there might be a little bit if they want to do partnerships and kind of really delve into this by joining different avatars across games and stuff like that. Then we have that option available.
Okay. So I have a younger brother, and I'm not as much of a gamer as my younger brother is. The kid goes hard, right? It's all he does. He doesn't even want to work, right? It's just, he just wants to game all day. He's at that.
Sounds like me.
He's younger, right? Like he just got out of high school, so he's in that phase. But and I just kind of brushed this the platform, and kind of I'm doing this interview today, and he's like, oh, that's really cool. He's like, first thing he's like, oh, I hope somehow they get some partnership with Steam. But then he made the comment that he's like, so with the money thing, he's like, I'm kind of a small fish. He's like, I don't have a deep wallet or anything. And he's like, so how would it work if there's guys who come in and they got deep pockets or something, and then they can go into a new game and almost have an unfair advantage in a sense. Is there a way to kind of, for, say him, the small fish, just the lover of the games, he feels like he's kind of on the same playing field. Is there a way to kind of work with that, where you're going to have these guys who have much bigger wallets than other people, but the game, it's not like it's completely lopsided in a sense?
That's a great point. And the way that we've kind of worked around that is by exporting and importing limits.
Okay.
So although, it might take us back a little bit, but that's something very important because last thing is we want is somebody to be able to, lack of a better word, destroy another game or destroy other players immediately upon that. So we've created a minor importing export limit that allows, let's say if we're taking Clash of Clans, for example, allows a user to, instead of starting out per se a giant level 1, they'll be able to start at giant level 2.
Okay.
So it's nothing that would, destroy a game immediately or, put someone at an unfair advantage. You still got to be good. You still got to have some skill. But it just sets you up, just to kind of have that
little bit of an edge.
A little bit of an edge, a little bit of increased engagement kind of getting into the game right off the bat.
Yeah, that's big.
I also think it's the sort of thing too, where if somebody has really deep pockets, like they're going to come into a game if it's like pay to compete, and they're going to pay to compete regardless, But I think really the element that's special about this is the transferability of the coins, and the fact that if I make a bunch of money in World of Warcraft and then I quit World of Warcraft, or I get unaddicted to it, I should say. It's just like, it's not all lost, It's not all just sitting on Gorefiend, my server, and just wasting away.
That was my brother's point too. He's like, man, I got so many games that I could use this for. He's like, I have so many hours that have gone into this. I need something like this.
and right, that's the exact point for me to be able to load up. As soon as this goes through, I'm loading up all my games, right? I'm hooking up all my systems, putting in every single disc, and taking that out. Because you're right, that's hours. I can count countless games I've spent over 100 hours playing, just sitting there. And it's back years back when, but I should be rewarded for that.
It's commitment,
somehow, right? 100% is.
Oh yeah, it is, right? I remember, times where it's like you look at the clock and it's 1:30 and you're like, oh my goodness, I should be sleeping.
But you keep pushing yourself.
Hour later, hour later, you're like, okay, I'm going to go sleep now. So it's being able to kind of get a reward out of those hours spent, and just being able to utilize the skills, because the skills hasn't changed when you've changed games. You're still a good gamer. right? And I remember one of the funny things that happened when we were introducing the concept at one of the indie events in Vancouver, and just sort of like your brother, like we explained it to one of the gamers, and he just stopped, like dead silence for like 2 minutes, just staring, and like I could see the hamster going in his head. So.
Yeah, it's definitely an idea and a thing that we kind of want to be a part of, and it's great to actually see that in motion. And as I said, I'm super excited as a gamer myself, just kind of being able to integrate that and really get a hold of it. So
I feel like loading up old games and like trying to remember your passwords is going to be like this thing's version of like trying to find an old crypto wallet.
Yeah,
you know?
your old Bitcoin
laptop,
wallet from
like,
back in 2014.
Yeah, I have an old laptop with particle coin like stuck on it, and I've been trying to sync the blockchain on that thing on this old laptop that's been like collecting dust for months, and I'm like 50 weeks behind on the sync. It's just a nightmare. But this will be
let alone being like an hour behind 50 weeks. So
yeah. So for your coin now, you guys use a proof of stake concept. Why don't we touch a bit on that now? How does your guys' proof of stake concept kind of work?
So we kind of provide that as an incentive for those who want to hold our coin, and we don't encourage any sort of trading and anything like that in terms of with their coin. We don't want people to pump and dump and everything like that. So what we provide is a drip bonus incentive for users that holding over 250,000 tap coins, basing it on the amounts that they've acquired during the pre-sale or the ICO, or those that can actually earn it through gameplay. So once you get to this amount, this legendary amount, as we call it, you receive 0.25% daily. Okay. And some people are like, oh, 0.25, that's a lot. It does work out, but depending on values of certain things, it might equal itself out. We might lower some thresholds, we might increase some thresholds, but at this point, that's kind of what we've said. So just by holding that amount in your tap wallet, provides users the incentives of gaining a daily amount of tap coins per day, in addition to playing and earning.
So it would be as simple as like when you say holding it in your wallet, just somebody holding it in their MyEther wallet or something like that? Or would it have to be on the platform?
Yeah, so here you can touch on kind of our integration of our wallet as well.
Yeah, so one of the things we've done is we've created a tap wallet. And so it sort of allows us to do some pretty cool stuff in the back end. So we're encouraging the users and the community to hold it in the tap wallet. And then the system will go through and check the balance and then pay out based on that. It all sort of ties into this one, AI-ish type system, sort of feeding off of itself. And so, as I said, by integrating a tap wallet, it allows us to do some pretty nifty stuff. And we sort of have some wish list things that we're going to try to do after the MVP and push out.
So in my view, gaming can kind of be quantified into one of three different categories, broad categories: mobile, PC, and console. How do you see those industries growing going forward, and maybe how that affects the strategy that you guys have taken with Tapcoin?
So there's some differences between the three of them, and then obviously there's some similarities. Long ago, PC master race versus console is kind of the biggest thing, and console gamers and PC gamers always clashing. Oh, my graphics are better. I got that, that next gen system graphics card, and you're on your console graphics card. Outside of those things, being a gamer, holding the similarity, there's no difference. Obviously, gamers are gamers on each. One thing that is changing, though, is the amount of time and the places that people are playing. So mobile gaming is increasing in that way that everyone has a phone. Everyone has the ability to play on the road. A lot of people are, playing for 5 minutes. They're playing 5 minutes for every hour, but they're still playing, a length of time. So we are changing the way that mobile gaming is being faced by capturing those casual gamers. A lot of casual games are coming out on mobile, not so much on PC outside of Steam. We seeing a little bit of those indie games hitting console with like Cuphead and stuff like that. But one of the things we want to change is create, Hugh calls it end the console war, right? And we really want to integrate all three systems to be able to create that transactions between all three of them. we'll never end it. Obviously, I funny enough, what was it? We were at one of those pitch events, and we were talking about that, and we said, "Oh, end the console war," and the guy laughed, and he laughed, just laughed it off, and he kind of turns back in his seat, and then maybe like a couple seconds later, he's like, "PC Master Race," like so, just suddenly just says it, right?
Yeah.
So you'll never end one of those things, but it's just kind of like to integrate all three consoles and all three systems into one, and really provide the opportunity for mobile gamers to really capture that competitiveness, that esports feeling that we see with console and PC.
Yeah, for sure, and I think the ability to go from mobile to console to PC with a platform, it doesn't really matter. So one of the things we're trying to do is just to empower gamers for the skills, because it does. I know a lot of people are, when PC and console and then mobile came in, there was kind of like the kid that kind of showed up and was like, "Oh, mobile, that's not even gaming. Come on,"
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But one of the things we want to do is just, it doesn't really matter the platform. It's the abilities, it's the skills at the end of the day. And so we're empowering gamers, and at the same time, we want to make sure to empower developers, either indie developers and AAA, as powerful as they are, just to sort of get everybody in the same room and sort of pushing the gaming industry. For me, I want a challenging game, right? And if that means that it's 100+ hours extra that I got to put in, then I'll put it in, because at the end of the day, I'll get my tap out, and I'll feel good that I just dominated that game, right? So,
and we are seeing like some pretty advanced games coming out on mobile. I know last 6 months and this year, we've seen PUBG Mobile and Fortnite Mobile. There's been a kind of a esports arena for Clash Royale. So there's some pretty hefty games that are coming out, and people are getting pretty competitive on the mobile space. And obviously, as Hugh said, to kind of integrate all three of those on holding their own really is a big feat, and we're super excited to prepare for it.
One thing I was kind of wondering about reading through the white paper is, how do you value currencies in a given game? Like, let's say I make a bunch of gold in World of Warcraft. How do I know how much of that I can convert to fiat? Because I know there's some places online where you can actually just buy World of Warcraft gold, Is it based on sort of like an average of those sites, or how does that play out?
Yeah, so on our default systems, obviously these systems can be changed by developers if they feel that they want to kind of make things harder or make it easier for certain games or certain achievements to be won. But on the default system, funny, as we're kind of going through this, and as we call it the TAP value matrix, as we kind of develop this and kind of doing the research and the mathematics around it, we figured out that developers and publishers already create a value into their game economy. Their earned and premium scores already have a value in its own. And that's due to the fact that they are connected to a store that is often allowed the change of fiat currencies, US dollars, or Canadian dollars, or whatever your currency is, to their premium currencies. Some games offer the exchange between the fiat to earned, but not a lot of games do that. So just by really breaking down how much does it take for one premium currency, how much is that valued for an earned currency? Figuring out how long that takes to earn that earned currency is another factor as well to come into that. But on a default method, it's figuring out, how does this developer value each of their currencies? How long does it take to earn that earned or premium currencies? And what is the value comparative to the store? Once we find out, we can find out a default amount of tap coins to ETH, tap to USD, what's the correlation there, and really figuring out, okay, one gem or one gold is equal to 5 tap coins at its current rate. It fluctuates, it depends, but that's kind of where we've set the value matrix, so to speak.
So you guys completed your crowd sale now a few months back, I believe. And from what I saw, you guys actually you had the pre-sale, then you had the crowd sale, and then there was actually so much demand for another opportunity. You had another crowd sale, correct? So why don't you, a little bit of detail, just an overview on the crowd sale, how successful it was, and maybe just a little overview for the listeners here.
Yeah, so we just conducted our pre-sale kind of in October, end of October. We did a crowd sale after that. And yeah, as you said, there was a demand for it to extend it. once we hit our soft cap, users wanted this to be extended. They wanted more opportunity to get more. They wanted more opportunity to really take advantage of the fact that they're seeing this system alive and being able to grow. And so we extended it up until the beginning of this year, and then we concluded it. One of the differences, and I'm not hesitant to say it, and I have no problems with saying that, is we are, as we discussed, we're gamers for gamers. We are creating this product for gamers and publishers. We don't have a huge marketing budget. We didn't have a huge, we weren't CEOs already. We weren't co-founders of another project. We weren't company men already. So we have been doing this literally grassroots, face-to-face, door-to-door, kind of that old school style of marketing. And we're not, we don't have any shame in admitting that. And that's really our story, is we're bringing this up from the ground. So yeah, we didn't, we weren't, at bat levels of 35 million in 2 blocks or something like that, right? But we're getting exactly what we need to build this project fully and to actually grow. And it's going to be super organic, and it is already super organic in terms of our
and one of the things that sort of led to the extension was the fact that going from day zero to there, we invested our own money as grassroots, right? So we're super proud of that. That we didn't, we went in and we put our own butts on the line, right? Saying, okay, well, we believe in this, so we should back it up. If you can't back it up, then you shouldn't do it. And we reached a point where we reached a soft cap, and the community said, okay, well, now you reach a soft cap. And we held our part of the deal was we wouldn't touch any of anything until we reach soft cap. And they said, okay, well, now you've got some excess, budget to use for marketing and so forth. And so we said, okay, well, let's push that. Let's get it into as many hands and as many eyes as we can.
I think that's awesome. Like I got a ton of respect for that, especially with the whole grassroots thing, pounding the pavement with this style of marketing. That's how you develop, the best communities, really. From my experience, when it comes down to it, it's, that, like you're saying, a lot of face-to-face stuff. That's how the strongest stuff gets developed. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it works out that way, that we've kind of, as I said, been super transparent on our Telegram channels. We're there all day almost, in addition to kind of what we're doing. Any questions that come up, any feedback, we take them, we bring them in. We even included our TAP project proposal, where we allowed users to provide feedback, really took them to the table and initiated actually some of those. So people were surprised. They were like, oh, you guys actually listened to us and actually put forward our feedback. And we have no problems doing so. We don't have that much pride, right? Like we'd still have pride in our project, but we're not going to be able to say, hey, sorry, mess up on this. We were thinking this. You guys are right on that. Let's move forward, right?
Well, I think it ties back to the fact that you guys both have extensive backgrounds as gamers and in the gaming industry. And you just seem to understand the ecosystem. I mean, we see a lot of things pop up in blockchain where it's just, they know there's money to be made if you raise money in an ICO, even though the people have no real experience with what they're trying to do. And it's just like a big money grab. But this seems like something that's coming from the heart, in terms of like, you really are interested and it's a good thing for gamers.
Yeah, it's for sure. It's definitely coming from.
Yeah, no, we've put a bunch of, I always say if they actually see the amount of time that goes into it, like if you even check in our Telegram chat and it's 11 p.m. PST, we're still on there kind of talking to the community, right?
Telegram just sucks you up too. It's like once you can't get off. Bro.
Yeah,
like once you're on, you're just stuck.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And so we're about grassroots. That's our thing from day one, and hitting it hard and just we've got the passion for it. We're huge gamers, and I said there is a lot of not a lot, but there is some selfish wants in there that we want to be able to play and earn a tap in as well. So there's a big difference there, and like we know what we want, and so if we know what we want, then we go to the community to verify, hey, are we on the right track? And usually they'll say, hey, you're right or you're wrong, and we'll go back and reassess and say, oh yeah, that makes sense, and we'll keep going.
I was gonna say, coming off the heels of the completed crowd sale, maybe just give the audience a little bit of a recap of what you have planned for 2018, maybe the next crucial steps that you guys are gonna touch on going forward.
Perfect. That's a great question to kind of, and a great segue into kind of some of the new things that we've done. and some of the new things that we're going to be doing. We just released our Q2 roadmap. And our roadmap, as another gaming hint there, is it's described our general roadmap as a road to Zion, for a little bit of a matrix point off there, but and Zion being kind of the end stage. But we delved into our Q2 and really focused on some of our technical aspects leading up to our MVP, which is our minimal valuable product. And April 2nd, we'll have our logo and website reveal. And that's a brand new logo, and I said a rebrand of kind of our project going forward. We want to make sure that our project is seen to stand the times of fads and trends and the whole kind of, this is just a .com bubble type of thing. We want to provide that immersive storytelling and connectiveness for gamers and users. And then we've kind of moved into our initiations of verifications. And Hugh, did you want to touch on kind of a little bit of the relay, and I'll get back into kind of the other stuff.
Yeah, for sure. With Q2, the biggest thing is the MVP for us, right? Because that means you can take a game. We've got the exclusive game completed. We've got the SDK for Unity and for Unreal completed. We've got the platform, and we've got the contracts. So it's putting those pieces together so you can actually walk through that entire cycle. And for us, that's huge too, because when we're talking to publishers, we're painting the vision, the goal, but we'll be able to go into meetings and within that time frame show from game to conversion, and that's huge, right? So that's taking the idea, the concept, and putting it into now it's actuality. It's sort of like Star Trek, right? Now you go up and you order your coffee and to materialize in front of your face. So that's major for us. And one of the things, as we've added to our team that we've been talking about is just bringing new users to the idea. So we've introduced some new contracts, and one of them is, for example, relay contracts, which allow those that don't know about the exchanges and don't really want to get into, like, okay, well, how, here's the ticker and here's red and all I see is green and I don't know what's going on. How do I get tapped? Right. And that's one of the things, like, okay, well, this is great, but like, how do I get it? So we've made it, we've tried to incorporate a lot of simplicity into what we do. And so this allows gamers to, if you're in, most likely you've got, ETH. You get your ETH, you convert to tap and you start. And that's one of the ways you can go. It's just very simple, very straightforward. And we're trying to beat that curve, where the adoption curve, where it's very simple for those that aren't fully immersed in blockchain, but kind of have an idea. And, they're immersed more in the gaming side and kind of bring them together.
Yeah. And Hugh, you touched on it a little bit, but I'll go back to the MVP. That will be we have that slated for June 30th, but that will be the first time users will be able to play a game, which we've developed with Juego Studios. We've partnered with them, a studio that worked with Warner Brothers, Disney, and etc. But play a game and be able to convert that score into tap coins. That will be the time that is integrated under Unity. Both plugins will be coming out, Unity and Unreal, and so users will be able to do so. And that's a major milestone. Even if that's just one game, for me playing that game over and over and over again, that is a major milestone for us. They did some testing with us, and we sent it, and we're just it was the middle of the night, and we're kind of like, we've got it. It's actually showed up on our platform. It's fully working, and that is one major step for us. And I'm going to break it. I think I'm going to do it here. I'm going to do it on your podcast here. The first time we're ever mentioning this is we're patent pending.
Ooh.
We have filed for that, and we're currently patent pending on the idea of converting digital virtual currencies into cryptocurrencies and tap coins.
Very nice.
This is including environments, assets, skins, non-fungibles, and cryptocurrencies as well. So
nice.
Super excited about that, and I'm happy to kind of release that on your show here.
Good stuff.
That's great.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so we're definitely in it for being around there for a long, long time, and this is kind of the first steps for us. And June 30th is a big, big milestone for us getting out.
It's funny how fast everything moves, though, right? It's like you talk, getting through it, but yet at the same time, like everything just moves so quickly, and I'm sure, and come June, you'll look back and it'll just all be a blur. And
Oh yeah,
wow,
for sure, for
here we
sure,
are.
for sure.
Here we are. Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Well, guys, I think we've kind of covered everything that we have written down. Is there anything that you guys want the listeners to know that we haven't maybe touched on
Any
today?
parting words? Yeah.
Yeah, I can leave a few as kind of the whole space kind of develops and people kind of see blood days or see green days, and kind of focus a little bit on the currency. Really dive into the projects and the ability of blockchain and kind of the uses. We're not just in it to create a one-time thing that's a little flash project or something like that. We really want to change the space. So we're working hard on doing that. We might be the smaller guy, but we are working hard on ensuring that we're actually providing some innovativeness. One of our new slogans, kind of a power impact statements going forward, is tap into a world that is more than just gaming. So that is what we want to breathe kind of moving forward. It's more than gaming. It's a connectiveness between gaming, blockchain, the whole crypto sphere, and the community alike.
Awesome,
That's
and
great.
where can the audience find you? Website, Telegram, Twitter?
Yeah, they can check us out at www.tapproject.net. Check us out on Telegram as well, t.me/tapcoin. We have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. They will all be kind of changed with our new logo going forward. So hit that Tap brand and see it, check it out, retweet us, like us, whatever it might be. Email us at team@tapproject.net. We're super open to speaking with you guys at any sort of events that we have in Vancouver, any sort of events that we can get to. Come talk to us. We have the shirts out there. That was one of the big things as gamers, right?
I think that's the first thing we did.
We need something. We actually did.
Everyone wants apparel.
Swag, right?
Yeah.
You want some apparel,
Oh, yeah.
right? You want some swag or
Well, it's
something.
free advertising. It's
Yeah,
great.
and one of the things I want to throw out there
Exactly.
too is, either if you're a gamer or, if there are any publishers, developers listening, reach out to us. Like as I said, we're super open, we're super transparent. Even if you don't think your game can fit in, trust me, we'll find a way to make sure it fits in. So just reach out to us on any of our social media platforms. Give us a buzz, send us an email. We're always here.
That's great. Well, thanks, guys. I know everyone here is, we're all pretty stoked about this. We're all gamers. So we think it's a great project. We encourage all of our listeners to strongly encourage them to check everything out. It's a great project, and it could be game changing. So thank you guys very much again for taking the
Thanks,
time.
guys.
Awesome. Thanks a lot,
Best
guys.
of luck to you.
Thank you guys very much.
Take
It's
care.
awesome to
Peace
be here.
out. Yeah, no problem. See ya.